Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's a free and easy way to support the channel. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a comment on every video, helping out the algorithm. Without any further ado, let's jump right into it. A lot going on. As always, you know how the market is. There's sometimes it actually feels like too much is going on just because of the wide levels of complications of everything taking place. I was just hanging out with a friend of mine. Hello, I doubt he's watching. I think he's traveling right now. Just chatting with a friend of mine, discussing everything that's been going on. The cryptocurrency market for him gets a little bit like too much sometimes, so I do fill him in on things taking place every now and again. We were walking, and then he's like, what's been going on in the crypto market? And I mean, when I tell you I informed him of everything that was going on over the course of like 2 days, his jaw dropped. He took out his phone and checked prices, and he was like, how are we not at 200,000 yet? And I was like, that's the question of the century. If you've missed any of the last 3 weeks or so, it's nearly daily now. It's nearly daily that we keep hearing about new companies who are getting into the space, returning companies or companies who were looking at crypto for a while, and now they're really going, head first, buying up as much Bitcoin as they can. The issue is, on top of many other things, is that all of these companies have aspirations of owning 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, or 1 million Bitcoin. Not $1 million worth of Bitcoin, 1 million Bitcoin. With many of them gearing up to make these gigantic purchases. Some of them said they're going to start with $100 million because, everyone just has 100 million laying around, while other companies have said $1 billion. So I'm going to show you what is happening, and then I'm going to lightly explain how this is cataclysmically insane, because the numbers need to at some point make sense, or I fear that many people within the market are actually going to go insane. You know how on any day, over the course of a moment in time, we're hearing about multiple different companies who are buying up Bitcoin, multiple governments buying up Bitcoin, multiple institutions, banks, central banks. You know the whole story, but the problem is that I have to keep reiterating it, or not, it won't really settle in your mind. So much of the news that we end up getting normally revolves around MicroStrategy. So then at that point, you will forget about the other 10 companies who have announced that they're going to be doing the exact same thing. Only buying Bitcoin, never selling Bitcoin, only accumulating, only wanting more. At that point, when you hear, okay, there's 11 companies, you've forgotten about the United States. You've forgotten about the banks in Canada. You've forgotten about the banks in Mexico. You've forgotten about the European banks. You've forgotten about the sovereign wealth funds who are also buying. You forgot about the rich people, like the actual just rich families who are also buying 100 Bitcoin every single day. All of this adds up together to form a gigantic supply shock. So this is the thing. This is just one company, and this is how crazy that it's actually getting. MicroStrategy, a Bitcoin treasury company, is currently accumulating Bitcoin at a faster rate than is actually being created, giving the supply capped asset a 2.33% annual deflation rate. They're buying so much Bitcoin that they're making Bitcoin more deflationary than it already is. Bitcoin by design, every 4 years has the halving. This makes Bitcoin deflationary on target every 4 years. This one company alone, their acquisitions have pushed that number even lower, which means that there's literally less Bitcoin mathematically than is actually being created available because they're absorbing more of the supply. That usually happens when you go from 180,000 Bitcoin to 600,000 Bitcoin in a 5.5 month period. You've probably also, as we're just talking about MicroStrategy, you've probably forgotten about BlackRock. You've probably forgotten about the other 8 Bitcoin US ETFs. You've forgotten about the other ETFs around the world. This is what when you add all these things up, it looks crazy. If this one company is doing this, and we heard that 10 other companies are going to be doing the exact same thing, and Bitcoin by design is deflationary, and we're hearing about all these other companies and family offices and sovereign wealth funds who are also buying, the actual deflation rate for Bitcoin has to be, I honestly can't assume what the number would be because there's such a huge amount of buying pressure. This is daily. Keep this in mind. This is what we're talking about daily. MicroStrategy does their purchases. It's been around once a week now. They were doing around one a month or one every 2 months. This was last year. But now they have this thing where Michael Saylor says something on Twitter. He's like, big surprise tomorrow. And everyone's like, what could it be? And people actually write articles and they're like, what could he be planning? And then he announces that they bought another 13,000 Bitcoin and people go, oh, that's crazy. And what did you think they were going to do? This one company is buying so much. What happens when you combine all the companies? If you missed 8 other videos that we've had before, the actual number of Bitcoin on exchanges is also collapsing. Like not falling, it's actually collapsing. We had one day where $1 billion left Coinbase alone. We didn't even hear the metrics from the other crypto exchanges. We just recently had news a day or two ago. I think $377 million worth of Bitcoin left Coinbase. Like it's literally like disappearing in rapid succession. All of this news comes from the Crypto Quant CEO. His name is Ki-Young Ju, J-U. He said their 555,000 BTC is a liquid with no plans to sell. The analyst wrote on a Twitter post, Strategy's holdings alone mean a minus 2.23 annual deflation rate. Likely higher, obviously, with other stable institutional holders. All of the companies that we've been hearing from, all of them have said that their entire purpose of their company now is just to buy. There's no plans and they never want to actually sell Bitcoin, ever. For those of you who can't conceptualize as to why, the idea basically revolves around, and here we go, Bitcoin going to $1 million per coin. If Bitcoin continues to rise higher, which it's going to, and we end up getting to $1 million Bitcoin or a multi-million dollar Bitcoin, these companies plan on lending out Bitcoin similar to a bank. The idea basically being if Bitcoin becomes the new currency that everyone is using, and you lend out your Bitcoin, you'll be able to get a return from it similar to a bank lending out money. Not to mention staking Bitcoin. If you have a Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to $1.4 million, all these DeFi protocols that are popping up that we keep seeing that we've been talking about, and I told you the ones that are going to take over are the ones that crypto exchanges launch, like the hyper super regulated. 1.4 million, you put a Bitcoin into it and you're getting a 3, 4, 5, 6% return yearly on your money. You're getting $50, $60, $70, $80,000 yearly from doing absolutely nothing. Now, what happens if you have 10 Bitcoin? What happens if you have 1,000 Bitcoin? This is literally where the market is going. But usually retail investors, and this is why we go over all this stuff, like when there is something like staking or custody, I make sure to bring it to you so that you understand the wider scope of why rich people are getting into this market. They call Bitcoin boring because Bitcoin just sits there. They're not entertained enough by Bitcoin just rising in value and making them richer. They wanted to do something else. And this is why we keep hearing about staking and these protocols and this DeFi and these wrapped coins. And it's because they know that there are going to be other it's the same exact thing with Ether. If you weren't here years ago, there was like a really weird thing where everyone was like, Ether's not doing anything. The moment Ether got staking, the price surged, obviously. And we saw that all these whale wallets were buying 10, 15, 25, 30,000 Bitcoin. Ether. The only way to make new Ethereum is by having the coin. So when you have all of it and the supply keeps dropping as well on crypto exchanges, the only new people who can make it are the people who have it. And Ether already has an enormous amount of DeFi protocols that you simply take that Ether, any extra Ether that you've made, into another protocol, make another 7%, aside from the Ether that's also being staked that's making you more money. Michael Saylor, the co-founder of MicroStrategy, is an outspoken Bitcoin advocate. It's not that he's an advocate so much as that he owns all of it. You're going to talk positively about the thing that you have almost 1 million of. If you missed it at the end of last year, it was rumored, but we think this is what's happening. It was rumored, what do you call it? That Michael Saylor actually had a New Year's party that revolved around Bitcoin. Like that was like the theme of the party. Like basically like, look how rich we are. Look how much Bitcoin that we have. And that was when they had like 190,000 Bitcoin. I just assume they're celebrating every single day. As you might have imagined, this was, of course, very popular news. If you missed the news before, what are the numbers? We had news that just the ETFs, that was also another number that we received. The other numbers from the ETFs was that they were and are, depends on the day. There's always, if you have missed it, there's a lot of like inflow news recently for Bitcoin ETFs and everyone's like, what? Inflows? And it's like, I have a headache. The amount of Bitcoin that the ETFs are buying is anywhere from 3 to 8. Number 3 to the number 8, the amount times the amount of Bitcoin that's also being mined per day. The supply shock is going to be terrible. I had another video recently where I think the title was something like, this is very bad, like everyone pay attention. I forgot exactly what it was called, but it was something along those lines. And I see it because people love to complain in the comment section. What's bad? And I'm like, no. You're not understanding that they're going to control the entire supply of Bitcoin. They want all the Ether. They want every single coin that's out there. And we will move on after this. The problem ends up being that so many people in crypto, the short-sightedness is crazy. You think all these companies and institutions are buying Bitcoin to hold it for 16 months and then go, I'm okay. You think that these governments and these world banks heard the guy from BlackRock say that if the US dollar continues on this course, it's going to collapse and Bitcoin's going to take over? You think these companies are here to make $1 million in profit? Or do you think they're buying all this Bitcoin because it's already deflationary? One company has made it more deflationary. What do you think their plan is for the next 15 to 20 years for Bitcoin? How much do you think a single Bitcoin is going to be worth? Why do you think what's this woman's name? She was just recently back in the news, but it's redundant to bring it back here again. Cathie Wood. She said all the institutional buying that we're seeing right now, she raised her Bitcoin price target for 2030. You remember what it was? The original number was $500,000. And then she raised it to 1.2 million. And then a couple weeks ago, she was in the news and she's like, there's so much buying. Her price target now shows $2.4 million per Bitcoin by 2030. That's 4.5 years away. Yes, think long term. In any investment, this is how you are supposed to be investing in the first place. But you understand how crazy this is, right? That's the micro strategy. I hope everyone's ready. I hope everyone's prepared. I hope you all have as much as you think that you need. And I hope that you continue to thrive and prosper because, it's going to get rough out there. That's the micro strategy news. Okie dokie. Let's move on. I want to say this is supposed to be surprising, but it's not even 1%. A Brazilian fintech firm by the name of Meliuz, Meliuz, has announced that it has become the country's first Bitcoin treasury company. Surprise, right? Yep, I told you it's daily at this point. We are hearing, and I don't remember the names of all of them anymore. I think I remember the first 4 or 5. After that, everything has kind of dwindled. Recently, I didn't have it here because it was like, oh, cool. Recently in the news, one of the other companies, so MicroStrategy's stock went up by 3,000% after them announcing that they would get into Bitcoin. And then over the course of a 2-year period, 3,000%. It's actually completely bananas. Other companies who've announced the same exact thing and have bought some Bitcoin, their stock has also risen monumentally. There was recently another company who just announced, this must have been 4 or 5 days ago, their stock price is already up by 90%, 90% in just a couple of days. Michael Saylor said, he said companies will not have a choice. If you want to make money, if you want to get richer, if you want to have a very strong treasury, that will, in essence, continue to appreciate against the value of the US dollar, as the US dollar is infinite and Bitcoin is not. He said companies are going to have to adopt a Bitcoin treasury. And this is why it's all been after he said that. This is why I think we're hearing about this daily at this point. Another new company called Meliuz, has announced their Bitcoin treasury by acquiring $28.4 million in Bitcoin as part of a long-term corporate strategy to integrate the cryptocurrency into their financial operations. I assume this will be relatively similar to a Capital 21 kind of thing. MicroStrategy seems currently to be on the boat of just buy, hold, and then eventually become like a Bitcoin bank, if you will. Other companies are announcing that they're going to be creating financial products and doing other things within the company that basically revolve around Bitcoin, give the company some kind of a return, and then they use the money that they got from that return and move it into more Bitcoin. This is usually what we've been seeing. The move to acquire $28.4 million worth of Bitcoin was confirmed by Meliuz. I'm going to say Meliuz. Chairman on Twitter, marking a... Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I was looking... Sorry. There's stuff on the desk. Don't mind me. Marking a strategic shift in the firm's financial operations as it integrates cryptocurrency into its core treasury model. He announced this as a historic day for both the company and Brazil. He revealed that shareholders had approved with a significant majority the company's transition into a Bitcoin-focused treasury firm listed in Brazil. This is daily now. It's not it's great news for the market, but also I'm exhausted with having to even think about the idea that there are people within this market who aren't paying attention. Listen, I know you're tired of the broken record as much as I am. You know what I'm also more tired of? People not paying attention to logic and things that are right in front of them. That's also very exhausting. You know how tired I am of having friends and people who I've known for a very long time and family who I keep trying to edge into investing or giving them ideas about not even what the new thing is. It's like where they should be putting their money. You know how many people I know in their 50s and 60s who've told me over the years that they don't want to retire broke and they would love to have money if I could help them. And I try and help them and they have no interest in hearing what the hell I have to say. You know how much fun that is to go over all the time? You know what it's like telling people 9 years ago on this channel, hey, Bitcoin and Ethereum seem like they're going to go up in price. And people telling me that the answer is Bitcoin Dark and Monero and all these other crappy coins. You know what it's like telling people 9 years ago, hey, is anyone looking at this thing called XRP? It's under a cent. I think it could definitely go to $1. And barely anyone pays attention to me. Do you know what it's like telling people to get into art years ago and no one listens? I told you, I have art pieces. I bought these things, it's not a joke, $35, and they turned out being these like super rare posters that only like 50 of them were made. They're going for thousands now for one single poster, and I have like 5 of them. It's not me flexing, it's me literally telling you this entire world is just buy and hold. Get assets and hold on to them. Do you know what it's like every single day to get news like this? Do you know what it's like to constantly hear that the Bitcoin supply on exchanges is dropping? That Bitcoin's deflationary and will only forever become more deflationary? That rich people are buying, that governments are buying, that institutions are buying? All these rich people go on to these financial news websites and on TV, and all they talk about is Bitcoin and how amazing Bitcoin is and how Bitcoin's going to $1 million. And then we hear the news that more than 90% of all Bitcoin is gone. It's in the hands of these people. And then to read my comment section and people call me names and that I'm crazy. I have no idea what I'm talking about. No, the answer is this coin. Why haven't you looked into this coin? Constantly trying to avoid logic themselves and also trying to scam people in the comment section. It happens over and over and over and over and over. When I was just with my friend yesterday, we were talking as we were about the market, and I said, I'm so excited for Bitcoin to go to $1 million. I wanted to get there because I truly do believe it's the only way that people are going to lock in. I think it's the annoyance that I have had most of my life with trying to make sure that other people around me also have money. And then this, like I told you in other videos, I've had this thing my whole life where people, I'm a very like comical person. I don't mean to be funny. I have a very dry humor, but people find some of the stuff I say and do funny. Sure, why not? Have fun. Blah, 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 amazing. I've always been like a jokester to people. So when I tell them anything, they still take it as a joke until they realize that they could have made money. And then I still tell them, no, there's time. Get into the market. It's still really early. And they go, the price is really high. And what can I do? What happens when you get something presented in front of you every single day and you still ignore it? What more can I do? I'm not going to take up, billboards along highways or, take out spot and like a TV show to try and advocate. No, the rich people understand what's going on. The rich people are buying up all the Bitcoin. They're going to own all of it. You in the future are going to know people who are going to, I'm telling you, you don't understand. This is what's going to happen. I don't need a psychic vision. I don't need some type of, future telling. Like, it's just complete logic. 2016, 1/100th of a Bitcoin was $4.25. It's now $1,000. What do you think 0.01 of a Bitcoin is going to be worth in 10 years, in 20 years. Everybody wants generational wealth, but no one does anything to accumulate generational wealth. This is every day, guys. This is every single day. Very big thumbs up to everyone out there actually paying attention. It's exhausting. You know, you really wouldn't believe. I have 2 friends who listen to me. No one else. No, I've told over 100 people, and I try not to like evangelize it to like, let me tell you about the word of Bitcoin. Like, you know, like what I give it to them in very simple terms over time and companies and institutions and what's happening to the dollar. And there's this level of being so skeptical. Maybe I'll look into it at some point when it's $500,000. You think it can go that high? You didn't hear what I just told you? There's no planning. There's okay. Melius is collecting Bitcoin as well. I assume tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after and the day after and the day after. We're going to be getting more news about other companies doing the same. Okay. Let's move on. Also I don't know. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, has announced a wide-reaching token distribution event aimed at users across multiple blockchain platforms. The initiative, called Glacier Drop, is part of the broader launch strategy for Midnight, a new privacy-centric sidechain under development by the Cardano ecosystem. The airdrop will target over 37 million users across 8 blockchain networks, including the XRP ledger, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. This large-scale distribution will introduce 2 native tokens called Midnight, a governance token, and doesnt. Shouldn't it be dusk? Okay. Intended to enable private transactions. Cool. Apparently this was presented at the Glacier Drop during the Consensus 2025 conference held in Toronto. Fantastic. Cool. No date as to when this is going to happen. Cardano tends to, as they've done for a while, announce something and then not have it happen for like a year. It's usually just how the platform works. It's usually meant to like build hype and get more people into it. If I remember correctly, the way that airdrops worked, I assume this one will be the same. The more Cardano or of these other coins that you have, the more of these airdrop tokens that you will have. As a gigantic side note, please make sure, if you are interested in this, to follow only proper channels for this, i.e., don't go and follow random people on Twitter who are talking about it. You follow Charles Hoskinson or the Cardano Foundation, like, you know, the one on Twitter that has like 800,000 followers or whatever. You only get your information and you only click links from them. A lot of times people know that these airdrops are going to happen and they scam people on Twitter by talking about it on their account. And they say, hey guys, I have a link. It's happening here. 30,000 people end up clicking that link. They get their wallets wiped out. They end up really sad. If you are participating in anything in crypto, make sure that the actual creator of that coin is talking about it and that they are posting a link. Do not click any outside links. Do not click stuff from anywhere else. I have to say that because it happens every single cycle. There's always a hypey phase. This is not the only one. There will be others. Other things will be airdropped. Other things will be talked about. Other things will be given away. People will start clicking on any kind of link. Their stuff ends up disappearing. Only official links from that person. No one else. But this should logically also just be an airdrop, usually meaning as long as you're holding the token, you will then receive the free coin. Cool. We'll see when it happens, but usually Cardano is a kicking the can down the road kind of project. They'll announce something and then they'll wait a long time. They'll build up hype. The thing finally launches and then they announce something else new that's also going to be happening to build up more hype. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, subbing? I don't remember. And supporting. I really forgot the other word. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.